Welcome back to the Lifetimes Podcast with your host, Lloyd Phillips.
And I'm the co-host, Leighton Rowan.
Hello, is it me you're looking for? I can see it in your eyes. Is that the first words of that song?
Yeah, I can see it in your eyes. I can see it in your smile.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm back.
Yeah, we're back.
That's right. We're back. How's everybody been doing? Somebody left a comment on Speakpipe. Let's just get to it right away.
We're just going to dive into it.
Let's dive right into it.
We've made this poor listener wait 3 weeks. So we're just going to dive into it.
Yeah, never again. My apologies. The studios were shut down due to the flood.
Yep.
And we're back now.
Yeah, we're back.
We're back.
The flood water's
Flood's
cleared.
over.
Yep.
Reseeded.
Yep.
Reseeded. All right, you guys ready for this? Here we go. I've never heard it. This is the first go for me, so here we go. Let's see what it is.
Hey guys, long-time listener, first-time caller. This is Bobby Tangeray. Wanted to call in. Hey, I did notice on this last episode something about the episode title's got peanut butter with drugs in it. I noticed, Lloyd, you didn't say put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame.
Ah,
At the end of that show.
I got
given up on
up.
that venture? I sure hope you have.
What? He hopes
I ain't getting in. Are you kidding me? Betting on the sport that he was playing. He might as well be wearing black socks.
This guy sounds like a moron.
He's making enough money wearing his all-white Cincinnati Reds hats and going to Vegas, signing a whole bunch of autographs. Anyway, love the show, guys. You guys are great. Sometimes I fall asleep to listening to this show. At night, laying in bed.
Yeah, I make money going to your mom's
all
house.
by myself. Anyway, I'll leave you with this. Fishing's awesome. You guys don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That out of everything that he said, that might have been his worst take.
Yeah, I'd go fishing at his mom's house. Tell you what, Bobby Tangeray, thanks for listening to the show.
Yes,
and
thank you.
Yeah, and leaving a message. That's cool because we're fresh on messages, fresh out.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out due to the studio being down due to the flood, turns out that was the last episode, so it worked out. Yeah, we're back. Bobby Tangeray.
So do you want to? He said Pete Rose is he does not belong in the Hall of Fame.
Nah, I'm moving on because when people say stuff like that, that just tells me their intelligence level.
See, I was listening to him, and then he said fishing is awesome. That's an oxymoron.
I do think fishing is. I'd like it better now that I'm old. I don't fit. Let me get Tangeray. I want to talk about Bobby Tangeray.
Okay.
I'll get to fishing after that. I just watch this. I get these random things that pop up on Facebook, and as a child, I would watch bodybuild. I'd get bodybuilding magazines, and I would read them and stare and be like, "Yeah, one day I'm going to do that." Which is weird because you have to actually work out to do that, And but I used to. But even when I used to work out and I did it very often, I was never tracking like that. Yeah. Anyway. So there's a guy named Jay Cutler, and I believe 7-time Mr.
He won it a lot.
Olympia, I believe. Well, anyway, whatever 5, 6, 7, whatever it is. He's retired now, and he was saying on Facebook what his meal plan was. He says he drinks 3 gallons of sugar-free Tang a day. Speaking of Tangeray, so I said that. Tang, 3 gallons of Tang. Have you ever gotten those kicks where you're going to carry around the water? Which, by the way, the people that work out, it's annoying. I like to carry around my 1-gallon jug. Sure, buddy. I work out because I carry around a 1-gallon jug.
Yeah.
So if you get a 1-gallon jug, and I did the other day, but not for workout purposes, it's that I should drink this much water a day. That's why I did it.
Yep.
And by the way, I still got half of it left. It was last week. Now, I've consumed more water than that, but just not out of that gallon jug.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that day I had it that whole day. I didn't finish it. 3 gallons.
Yeah, 3 gallons is insane.
He's got to pee every 8 seconds.
Yeah.
He just got to probably wear one of those custom things that you just walk around and pee.
Yeah.
Yeah. 3 gallons of.
Yeah, 3 gallons is nuts. I did the same thing, but I got like a water bottle that was a gallon. And that's what I was trying to do, was drink one of those every single day. And I did it for about the first week, and I didn't realize how hard it was. It is so hard to drink that much, but 3 gallons, there's no way.
Listen, I'm going to show my intelligence here. Well, not really. If you can't do it listening right now, if you can't do it either, then I don't want to hear it. But they have these 20-ounce water, and I'm not doing the math in my head. I'm just saying they have these 20-ounce water bottles. let's say I'm thirsty. I can grab one and I can drink the whole thing in 4 seconds.
Yeah.
And not even like it's a thing that I'm trying to show off. I literally will just gulp it all down. I'll be done with it in a second. And if I'm real thirsty, I can almost do it with 2 in a row. That would mean that I would have 23 hours left in the day, 23 hours and 58 minutes left in the day to consume the rest of it. And I don't know. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Somewhere you get full in there.
Yep.
Now back to fishing. I'm not an outdoorsman. I have been in my life. I've told the story. I mean, all my friends know it. When my dad would fish and hunt always. And I was a kid. And all I wanted to do was ride bikes. That was it. I wanted to hang out with my friends, play football, basketball, maybe even baseball, but not all my friends played baseball. So we'd either do football or basketball every day. Didn't even matter what season it was. And Dad would be like, hey, he probably made me sometimes. Like, let's go fishing. Because it never would have been my idea.
Yeah.
Ever. So it was probably like, I'm going fishing in the morning. You come with me. And I'm like, okay. We would be out there. We'd get there at dark. It would be dark when we got there, and it would be dark when we left. I can tell you right now, I hate fishing like that. Hate it.
Yeah.
So I know there's people out there, and they love to go fishing. Now, if you're in a tournament, let's say I'm older now, and I don't have a boat. But let's just say I did, and I got a boat, and I went fishing with my friends all day long. I can see how it would be relaxing. Maybe not in a tournament because they drive 90 miles an hour to get to whatever hole and get in there sideways, you know. But I could see I'd be relaxing in that manner, just like hanging out. Ah, man, backcountry lake somewhere, just on a little boat. Yeah, I mean, that'd be cool. I mean, you know, I was camping next to it, and I grilled the fish I caught that day. I could do that all day long.
Yeah.
Dark to dark, nope.
Yeah. No,
Hate
thank
it.
you.
That's the same thing for hunting. Like people, you know, I mean, I don't deer hunt, but if I was going to deer hunt, I want to go out there at noon and just see them like at 12:15 and then just call it good.
Yeah.
That's my style. Like, I'm going to go hunting next year. I got 30 minutes. That's what I got. If you cross me, it's over. So it's the only way I'm hunting. Once again, the thought of it now that I'm older is better, but it's different. So deer hunting for me, like whitetail, that's not exciting to me. Like it doesn't seem exciting. And I know there's a lot of people that hunt and they love it, and it's a different kind. Like it's a different kind of adrenaline when you're bow hunting and there's a deer in front of you, like all that. Your heart's kind of racing and all that stuff. So it's exciting. Like I get the point of excitement, but I would rather. My dream vacation is actually to go bear hunting in Alaska.
That would be cool.
Yeah, see, like that. I think I could do that, and whatever the guide said. But then I'm not sure they're going out at dark. They could be, but I don't know if they are. Early in the morning. But they're not out there all day long. On those kind of hunts, those guided hunts, I guess you could be, but I don't think they're out there all day long. They go in the morning, and they come back, they eat lunch. People make you your lunch, and you're outside, and you know, depends where you stay in these cabins or lodges or maybe even tents. Depends where you're at. And then they take you out in the evening. It's not dark. It's not dark to dark.
Yeah.
And then they hang out around the fire at nighttime. Now that's my style.
Yeah.
Regardless of what kind of shoes I wear, and people comment about the style of clothes I wear sometimes, make no mistake, if I could pick where I could live and just be full time, I would be out in the woods. I would live in the woods.
Yeah.
I think that's, for me, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, me too. And I'm a wimp and scared of everything, but I'd still do that.
But I always thought that way because me and my friend, we would go on these motorcycle trips. Depends on the year. It's me and one friend, sometimes me and two. It's been me and three. We'll go on these motorcycle trips, and we go backcountry discovery routes, and we'll go to like Colorado, Wyoming, Montana. I mean, in the middle of nowhere. We go off in the middle of nowhere, and those are awesome trips. And they're also potentially scary because everything out there could probably kill you.
Yes.
And you're not remotely close to anywhere. And most of the time when you're that deep in the mountains of Colorado, I mean, we're talking about out there, like you're literally out there. There's not a town for 50 miles. Your cell service doesn't work.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, in that regard, it's scary. And to be honest, even though it's peaceful, just because there's bears and mountain lions out there, like elk, depending on where you're at, moose, Yeah, man, I hear it. So
Yeah.
any movement at nighttime, even though it's peaceful, I can wake up in the morning, mountain air feels nice, all is good. But if I hear a twig snap after it's bedtime, and I zipped up the curtain, oh man, I always sleep. I sleep with a gun and a knife.
Yeah, I would be
right beside
so stressed out.
every time. I sleep with a gun and a knife every time.
I'd be so stressed.
Yeah, but then I got this other buddy who he goes hiking, and I like the thought of that too. But he goes hiking, and he did a whole trail by himself. He had two people that were with him. I guess they got hurt. Somebody hurt their ankle in the first 100 yards. Oh God! Yeah, you knew they weren't gonna last. I wouldn't even talk to them anymore if that happened. Like, we're not friends because you're stupid. But so my friend did the entire trail by himself. I don't remember the trail or how to say it, but
Yeah.
he was out there two or 3 days. See that? I mean, I could still do. And after the fact, it's probably peaceful. But once again, at nighttime, at dark, when I zip it up to go to bed, anything I hear, I'm like, "Are you guys coming to get me?" I watch too many murder shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been watching too many. Well, not reality TV, but I don't watch TV anymore. I only watch like movies or whatever. But I used to watch. When I would watch TV shows, like on cable, because I cut cable a long time ago, but or maybe when I first got Netflix, I would watch like the ID Discovery Channel,
Yeah.
the murder stuff. I would watch it all the time. So anytime I'd hear a twig, I thought you were getting me.
Yeah.
So listen, you can't do that. You can't psych yourself out like that. I'm telling you right now, we're on a podcast, of course, but Crime Junkies podcast. Have you heard of this?
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, it's the probably top three without no question. Probably top three podcast there is that exists. Maybe number two. I would listen to it when I was mowing. And there's this one particular job, a couple of jobs where I was mowing. I felt like a little more secluded area, and there's this trailer park just on the other side of the fence, and you're kind of you couldn't really see, and I'd be listening to Crime Junkies. I was scared the whole time. I thought I was going to get killed at any moment. Yeah, and like, I don't want to hear anybody say like, "Oh, why? Because it's a trailer park." No, it could have been. It didn't have to be trailers. It could have just been out in the middle of nowhere, and I'm listening to crime podcast, and I can't see around the tree.
Yeah.
I mean, but that mower went like 7 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Who was I outrunning?
Nobody.
No way. The only shot I had is if I saw you coming from 2 miles away, and then I hope that you couldn't run 7 miles an hour for the next 3 miles. So anyway, you see me today. See what I'm wearing here? Lion's Choice. Today's show sponsors Lion's Choice. Greatest roast beef sandwiches to exist this side of the Mississippi.
Nobody eats roast beef.
That's actually a weird thing to say, but Lion's Choice. So I was in Kansas City. It originated in St. Louis, but I was in Kansas City 3 weeks ago, and the CEO, the vice president of operations, they're all at this store, which is this particular. It was already my favorite fast food restaurant. I drove 50 miles out of the way one time to swing by Lion's Choice because I was too close to St. Louis. And so, because I legitimately loved the place, I was turned on to it by my buddy Jeff. There's the time period where I lived in St. Louis when we did the pinball company thing. And, which for all I know, I've never told that story. Maybe I have, but he said, "Oh, do you like Arby's?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, Arby's sucks." like, yeah. He's like, "You got to try Lion's Choice." And I went there, and then they put seasoning on this roast beef, and then they have a certain sauce, and he doctored it up for me.
Yeah.
And I ate it, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" And since then, I've been going back ever since. I love the place. So there's one in St. Louis. I discovered it when I was driving back and forth to Des Moines, Iowa, and then so when I got to Kansas City, that's where I would stay for this current work. I bounce back and forth between Pittsburgh and Kansas City. I'm just saying that for anybody that knows me. You're like, or I thought you were in Pittsburgh, whatever, right? So I was going to drive to North Kansas City to go to this restaurant because I love it. And then one day I was going to go the next day, and that night I Ubered to Jack Stack's Barbecue. Have you heard of that?
It's delicious.
Yeah, because if you type in best barbecue places in the country,
That pops
it's one
up.
of them.
Yep.
And I was staying there at this hotel. There was a Lion's Choice like 300 yards from the hotel, but you can't see it because there's a lot of trees. And all
Yeah.
And I'm like, no way. So I pull in there. I think I got a little sidetracked because I just told you everybody that was there. I pull in there. All those people are there, and they're standing outside, and they're giving free roast beef sandwiches, and they're talking to you. They're trying to make it a thing. And they're like, hey, have you been here before? And I'm like, as a matter of fact, this is my favorite place of my life, and I'm only here last night. I'm going to eat here every day.
Yeah.
What I told them. Well, after that, they wanted me to make a TikTok, and they wanted me to tag myself in this TikTok, and they started giving me a bunch of gear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, here we are, Lion's Choice sponsor.
Oh yeah, I love roast beef.
Yeah, we love roast beef.
We love.
You're ruining
roast
another
beef.
sponsor. Why are you doing that?
Well, you do all the other sponsors, so I thought I might as well burn this one
No,
down.
but this is a real sponsor. These other people are fake. We don't like them. Well,
If I would have got a T-shirt, I would be on board.
no, I just mean no. Hold on. Let me reword it. We like all of our old sponsors.
Oh, yes,
I'm talking
yes,
about
yes.
the potentials that just I didn't care if we ever had them.
Yes,
Yeah, those are the ones I burned down.
but you know what I love?
What's that?
Lionsgate
Lionsgate
bologna.
Lionsgate bologna.
Now what is that?
Lion's Choice.
Lion's Choice.
They don't make bologna.
roast beef.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's
Tell
so
your friends.
good. I love it.
And they have a horseradish sauce. So
Yep.
that's awesome. So if you're in the Kansas City or St. Louis area, I would swing by Lion's Choice. It'd be the greatest decision you've ever made in your life.
Yeah, tell them the Life and Times podcast / Lloyd Phillips sent you.
Yeah. Tell them your friend sent you. So it's football season now, and it wasn't the last time we did a podcast. so yeah, it's football season now. Thanks to the Great Flood, it got us.
Yeah, it got us to. It brought us into football season. Thank goodness. Side note: while Lloyd takes a drink, I'm co-host Leighton Rowan, but I'm also co-host Lloyd Phillips's dad in fantasy football.
That's actually not true.
Oh,
Did I beat you last week?
you didn't play me last week.
2 weeks ago?
I beat you.
Listen, guys, it could have happened, but I don't remember it.
No, it did happen. I beat him.
Well, okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'm probably his real dad. But
Yeah.
So anyway, like I just am saying that I'm pretty good at fantasy.
You're okay.
Where was I going with that?
It's football season. The Great
I
Flood
mean-
brought it back. I'm your dad.
I was just going to say that I'm up there and I'm announcing these things. Two things. I'll get to this. Two things. The last 2 days, the high school game, and I did these little kid games today. It's always my favorite when I know people on the other side of the house. And so last night, there's a guy that I know, and his kid is on the team, Hall and Hall. The kid is the shortest kid on the team. I'm that's irrelevant, but I got to say it for the reason that actually I guess it's not irrelevant because it's the reason I didn't. He doesn't get to play. He's a freshman and he's the shortest one on the team.
There we go.
I would have said that he would have made 30 tackles. I would have called his name every other play, but the reason I chose not to because then I started thinking everybody knows that he's not playing, and then he's also the shortest kid on the team. And then I didn't want them to think that I was just making fun of the kid.
Yeah.
And I really wasn't. I was just trying to humor his dad.
Yeah.
So I didn't. He didn't have 30 tackles. He had like 3 last night.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So and I guess his dad texted me, sent a text, and he's like, "Yeah, my son found out he had some tackles when a senior walked up to him and said, 'Hey, nice tackle, Nash.'" and he's like, "What?" And he's like, "Well, he called you on the tackle a couple times." So, and then today, my old high school teacher, she's was there for the opposing team, and she listens to the podcast, by the way. So she's heard me, and walking into the stadium, she's like, "That's Lloyd. I know it is." And she came up and said hi in the press box, and she was on the opposing team. She made 3 tackles today.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
That's impressive.
She did 3 tackles. But I also said out loud, and I wanted everybody to know, I was like, I'd like to make a special announcement. A member of the, what did I say? A fan for the Fort Gibson squad is the one directly responsible for me not knowing the difference between seen and saw. And then I said her name.
That's awesome.
Keith Hasbill, everybody. Yep, thank you. I don't know. This is what would happen that I remember in class. I didn't know how to use seen and saw back then. I just didn't. As a matter of fact, my friend, if my friend Luke didn't tell me, I wouldn't have known still.
Well, shout out to Luke.
Well, it's because he said, "Hey, I know that you like to sound smart, and you don't." He said, I know you like to sound smart, but you don't sound smart when you say this. So, that's what he said. So, anyway, whatever I would say, I'd say I seen that.
Yeah.
Whatever I said, I seen that. She said saw, and I would say seen, and she goes saw, and I'm like, I know, but I said seen. She's like, yes, I know, but the correct way to say it is saw. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I said seen, and that's why I said, so I'm not taking it back. That's what I would say. That was our conversation most days. Like, so, when I was in high school. This is the same teacher that I would be in the middle of her class, and I would just get up and walk out, like right in the middle of the class. Oh, I did it very often.
Why?
I just felt like I want to visit friends in other classes. Have you heard this before?
No.
Oh yeah. So listen, I thought I had it made back in the day. My dad was on the school school board. One of my best friends' dads was on the school board. One of my lifelong family friends, basically like family, was on the school board. One of Dad's best friends from childhood was on the school board. I'm just saying all this. And then one of my other buddies, Grandpa, he was the high school principal, and his best friend was the superintendent.
Oh, so you were invincible in your mind.
Oh, yeah, except for he had one outlier, the assistant principal. And that guy didn't care who you were. He didn't care. Which in turn also made me, still to this day, I think he's one of the greatest human beings ever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. His name's Steve Tyner. I think he's the one of the, I mean, he passed away, but I loved that guy, right?
Yeah.
But I loved him because he was the same. It didn't matter who you were. He didn't care. But, okay, so I walk out of the class, and I would do it often, and I went to another class, and I'm sitting down. I'm in the class. This is my cousin's the teacher here. And so I'm sitting in there, and she said something to me in class. She's like, what are you doing in this class? I'd been in there for like 5 minutes. I didn't just walk in. And she's like, what are you doing in here anyway? I was like, I was just coming to hang out with who. I don't remember who I was hanging out with. And so she's like, go to your own class. And I was like, what? Teachers are stupid. And like I was said that's not exactly what I said. I'll say what I said because I didn't mean it in today's society. I'll tell you exactly what I said. I was trying to ham it up for the podcast, but you're not going to understand.
Yeah.
So in the current society, this is not going to be funny for people. But she's like, go to your own class. I don't know what she said. I don't remember what she said, but I said we should kill all the teachers. But I didn't mean that. Well, back in the day, that didn't mean what it means now.
Yeah, because now didn't happen like that.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
Yes.
This is a different world. But I didn't mean. I was just. There's no way to like make that playful. But
well, you're just being edgy at the time.
Yeah, I was being funny though. Like I said it in a funny way. I wasn't. She knew I. It's not like I got up and yelled or anything. And so she's like, oh, "You go to the principal's office right now." And I'm like, and by the way, she was my cousin, the teacher. And I was like, Paula, I was just playing. Like, she said, go to the principal's office now. And I'm like, okay. And I smiled at her. And I was walking out, and I was like, I'll go to Clarence's office. Because I only called him by his first name.
Oh,
because he's my friend's grandpa.
Gosh.
And so when I said, I'll go to Clarence's office, she's like, no, you go to Mr. Tyner's office. And she sent me to the assistant principal. Now, right when she said that, I'm like, oh, crap, man. Because this guy don't play.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not a player. Yeah. And so, and I didn't mean it, of course, the way I said it. I don't know what's going to happen. But he knows me too. And like, that's not my right over. So I go down there, and he always calls you Mr. and Mrs. Don't matter. And so walking, he goes, Mr. Phillips. I was like, hey, Mr. Tyner. He's like, and he said something kind of playful, but he wasn't like a big player, you know.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, I don't, I'm not. I got in trouble.
Yeah.
And so he's like, what? And now he changes. And I was like, yeah, I got sent down here. He's like, well, what? I said for something I said. He's like, what did you say? And I'm like I said it, but it's not how I meant it. And he's like, what did you say? I was like, well, she said this. And I was like, we should kill all the teachers. And he's like, now, Mr. Phillips, now you think that was something you should have said? And I'm like, no, but I didn't mean it bad. And so, like, it wasn't like the big deal. I feel weird saying about it, even on the podcast these days, because, times are different. Times are different these days. And so, what he said was, he's like, I never actually told him that wasn't my class.
Oh, yeah.
So he said, Mr. Phillips, go back down. Just go apologize and go back to class. And I'm like, yes, sir. So I went down there. I was like, Paula. I was like, hey, Paula, I apologize for saying that. I didn't mean it that way. I'm sorry for coming in your class and interrupting. That's what I said. She's like, go to your class. I was like, okay. So I walked back into where my teacher, and so she's like, where have you been? I'm like, I've just been a couple places, but I'm back now. So, yeah, I would walk out of her class all the time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I can't believe he just said go apologize.
Yeah, no kidding.
No, because when I tell that story and all the build up about him, you're like, oh yeah, he must have let you go too. He didn't care who you were. Like, he was a pretty legitimate dude. Yeah, but Clarence, she sent me to the office one day.
Who?
That same lady.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I might as well tell these stories.
Paula?
Yeah, Keita. Keita was my teacher.
Your homeroom teacher that you were supposed to be in.
Well, yes.
The room that you were supposed to be in
right.
at the time.
Yeah. So one day I walked out like I do, and she's like, don't walk outside that door again. And I was like, okay. She said, don't walk outside that door again. If one part of your body goes outside that door, you're going to the office.
Oh,
so I got up in class. I went and opened the door, and I stuck just the tip of my finger out the threshold of the door.
Yeah, because that sounds like a challenge to you.
It's like just the tip of my finger said, go to the office now. And I'm like, what? She said, go to the office. I'm like, I just stuck my fingertip out the door. Like that was the issue, right? But I'm like, just my fingertip, wasn't my body. She's like, go to the office now. And so I'm like, okay. And so I go down there because I'm going to Clarence's office. And so I walk into the office, and I would always was like kind of a funny guy, and so the lady, it's funny, I literally called people by their first names.
That's so wildly disrespectful in school.
No, it's not. We're friends, bro.
School.
We're friends.
Oh my gosh. What about your coaches?
But anyway, like I'm back and forth with one. Like the one that's on the tribal council, I very well may call him Danny to his face. But about half the time I call him Coach. Like, yeah. I mean, that it's not even disrespectful or respectful either. I mean, that's just what it is. Anyway, I wasn't trying to be disrespectful, and they all talked back to me. I mean,
well, that's true
like
too.
if they
had an issue with it, then they would have corrected it. Yeah.
So I walk in and they're like, hey, this lady named Belinda, and I'm like, hey, Belinda. She's like, what? She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I gotta see Clarence. So I got sent down here, and so he's like, Lloyd, come in here. So I go sit down in front of him. I'm sitting there like 2 or 3 minutes, and he's already given me a lecture, and he's like, but not a real lecture. It's not a real. He's smiling at me. He said, what did you do? I'm like, she told me don't go outside the classroom. I was like, I just stuck my finger out there. Like, I was just being silly. I didn't know she was going to get all carried away about it. and he's like, Lloyd, what? You can't do that. I'm like, I know, but wasn't a big deal. I didn't think. And so now Keita comes down. She comes down. She walks in the principal's office. I'm just sitting there, and she's like getting on me. He's like, "What's going on?" She's like, "He just stuck his finger." I told him, "Don't walk outside the class." He stuck his finger outside of the class, and it was this fast, just like this. And I'm like, he's like, "Well, Lloyd, there's only one thing I'm going to do." And he got up and walked in his closet behind his desk and got the paddle out. And I'm like, "Crap, man." This is Clarence. I mean, I'm at Clarence's house 3 days a week, by the way. I think he's going to hit me with this thing. And so when he pulls out the paddle, I don't know if he was going to give me 1 or 3. I don't remember. but he was going to give them. And Keita's the feature. She's like, please don't hit him, Clarence. She called him Mr. Austin, but please don't hit him, Mr. Austin. Now I'm mad. Now that makes me mad. Because you sent me down here. You caused this show. Yeah, you caused this show. And so she says, don't hit him. And that made me mad at her. And I'm like, no, hit me, Clarence. No, you are going to hit me. And she's like, don't hit him, Clarence. Well, Mr. Austin, I'm like, Clarence, paddle me. No, she sent me down here. This what happens. Hit me. And she's like, please don't hit him, Clarence. I swear, she teared up.
Yelling Clarence paddle me is wild.
And she teared up. And she's like, please don't whip him. He's my favorite. Like, I know he shouldn't have done it. And he's like, well, Lloyd, I guess I'm not going to paddle you. And I'm like, I didn't know what to say. Like, I kind of made a look at her like, you started all this. Like, you just made this all weird. If he had just paddled me and I went back to class, she made it very awkward.
Yeah.
Where I had to yell and say, hit me, Clarence. I mean, what? Yeah, what a stray cat.
Yeah, that was I've never heard that story. That was great.
Oh, yeah. I literally.
I mean, if you remember, was the door open when all this is going on? Is there people like looking in, like, what the heck is going on in there?
No, they shut the door. When you get in there, when you're in trouble, they shut the door on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, he was gonna hit like just that fast though. And he wasn't even mad. He smiled when he got up to get the paddle. He smiled. When he walked out with the paddle, he smiled, and that's when I smiled because I'm like, I love the guy, right? Like, He's doing his job. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like he was doing his job. He probably let us get away with a little more than the other guy. Mr. Tyner didn't play. He don't play. He wasn't a player. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how many different ways I could say that. How many times he was serious. Yeah. And then there's other stories I'm not proud of. But
do you have like one good swatting, like where you got in trouble and had to get swats? That's podcast worthy.
Well, the one, okay, just because I referenced those same people. The guy's on the tribal council now, and we're friends. Like, he was my coach, but we're friends. Like, we talk on the phone. And I'm not, maybe once every couple months. He was the high school football coach. And so, being kind of the guy who would say stuff just to make people laugh, and I would mouth people, and, so I was I could have been a freshman or maybe a sophomore, So we come in from football practice. I got it. I went to the urinal. I come back, my helmet's gone. We literally just walked in from football practice. The rule is you'd have to take a SWAT or run a mile if you left your gear out, right? Let's just say a whole practice over, we change, you throw all your pads in there. I left my helmet on the bench, and you walk out for the next day, and it's a one SWAT or a mile. Well, practice literally was over 3 minutes ago. Somebody took my helmet and gave it to coach. Now, I wasn't mad at him. It's just like, I bring a lot of this on myself, so it's just what it's what it is. But so I'm sitting there, I was like, where's my helmet? And then I hear coach come around the corner and yell like, oh, Lloyd left his helmet out. But I didn't. Like, nobody else has even changed yet. Yeah. They're in their stuff. Well, so he's like, oh, it's SWAT or a mile. And he was like trying to be cool. A SWAT or a mile. And I'm like, he's like, SWAT or mile. Which one do you want? His voice sounds like that. He's like, oh, SWAT or mile. Which one do you want, Lord? And I'm like, coach, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not running a mile. I was like, you don't hit that hard anyway, so we might as well go in there. That's exactly what I told him. And so when I said that, he's like, oh, okay. And so we walk into his office, and we're in there with the other coaches, and he's like, oh, he's going to take a SWAT because he just said I don't hit hard. I'm like, you don't hit that hard, I guarantee it, coach. And I swear. And he pulls out his paddle. I don't remember if that one had a hole. I don't remember the paddle specifically. Some paddle that hit me at some point had holes in it, like for air resistance. So I don't remember if it was his or not. But he got up because I was like, I'm not running a mile, and I was a little mad because they already took my helmet like that fast. Yeah. But whatever, man. And so he gets up behind me and he's like doing practice swings. and I'm like, and I'm just waiting. He's like, but every time like he would get it right next to my butt and he'd go, whoa! and so when he hit me, and you know what's funny to tell these stories? I wasn't even mad about it. Like I said, I was a little annoyed, but I wasn't mad about it. And after he hit me, I laughed because he hit me, and I didn't make a face. And I'm like, I told you to hit that hard. But he hit me. That was the rule, like one swat or the thing. And he's like, okay. And then I go back into the locker room, and I'm mad about it. I'm a little annoyed about my helmet because whoever threw it in there. And so it was about 5 minutes later, and like, that hurt? I'm like, oh, I felt it. And I walked back in the thing, and I pulled my, back part of my shorts down, and it was a welt, like a perfect welt across the thing. It was already like red and like almost like a blood blister.
Oh my
almost.
gosh.
Yeah, but see, what's funny is I'm telling you that story in a funny way. Like, I'm not even mad about it. And these days, can you imagine if that happened these days? Like the kids like we're in a different world here.
Oh, not even close.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're around my age and you experience the same kind of stuff, you grew up in a small town, everybody knows. Like that's just a thing that happened. I don't believe they were doing that kind of stuff in cities even when I was in high school. I think they started to phase that stuff out, but
yeah,
that's how it was. And you know what? Nobody was mad.
No.
Like nobody was mad. And guess what? If you got hit hard enough, like you knew you got hit, you went right back to class. You weren't suspended for a week, anything like that. But if it hurt bad, if they had to give you like 3 swats, and they gave you 3 and they hit you in the same spot all 3 times, like my goal was to not make a face, so I wouldn't. But I felt it.
Yeah.
Like I knew I got hit.
Yeah.
So, but I would never give anybody the satisfaction of
knowing that it hurt.
I wouldn't even wince. I wouldn't make a face at all.
Yeah.
It was part of you weren't going to win that game. Yeah. So, yeah. You can't even do that stuff anymore.
Oh, heck no.
It would fix a lot of problems.
I mean, that was offered when I went to school. And just knowing that it was an option, I think scared a lot of kids. So I never had to get a SWAT, but
it did scare a lot of kids.
I was close, but I knew I don't want to get freaking swatted by a coach. Like, heck no. I see him in the weight room.
Yeah. Well, one of my coaches, he wasn't there that day. I think it was a couple years previous, but one of my coaches who was a massive, giant human being, mean, giant, red-haired, balding, had a handlebar mustache, huge forearms, giant guy, probably weighed 300 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 6 foot, 300 pounds.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, his name's Anna Veronica now. So
interesting.
Yep. I'm glad he didn't hit me with a paddle.
Yeah. Well, never mind.
I mean, back then it would have hurt. If you hit me now, it wouldn't hurt him. I don't guess.
That's where I was going with that, but I refrained.
Yeah. But what a giant guy. I mean, we're not going to get into I don't know how that works. So I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
I don't either.
Yeah, but I'm just saying I'll just simply say this because then we don't want to talk about it anymore. I don't know how you can be that massive, giant, manly, mean, strong guy and then be like, I don't know.
Never mind.
Yeah. I've always wanted to wear those ruby red slippers in the Wizard of Oz. Yeah. Oh, man. Did I go to Washington, D.C. since then, too?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, man. I missed a lot of stuff.
Yeah. About 4 weeks.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I went to D.C. The ruby red slippers, I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably the most surprising, Abraham Lincoln's hat, which was cool. But probably the most surprising thing, and I know I'm going to blow it because I've told other people probably different things, but just from memory, the coolest thing is I walked into the National Air and Space Museum. I didn't know all what was in there. I just knew I wanted to go there. I walk in this one room, and it's about space. I see there's a spacesuit over there. But I'm like, oh, look at that last because it looked cool. I saw this gold glass, shield, and I walked around the whole room and I'm like, go look at that last. So I walk up to the spacesuit and I'm just looking at it because that's a spacesuit, right? Like you always see spacesuits, and I'm like, man, that's awesome. Like this is kind of how the thoughts went. Man, that's awesome. Like that's really cool. I'm looking at the gold helmet and I'm looking at the boots. I'm like, man, cool. And then I glance over. I didn't even see it. The description of the suit. That was Neil Armstrong's suit. That was Neil Armstrong's suit.
Wow.
So then I'm like, no way. Because I just thought it went from just being a spacesuit to like, that's the spacesuit.
Yeah, yes.
And I'm like, no way. That is awesome. So then I walked around and I stood there for like 5 minutes and I just stared at it.
Yeah.
I did that for that. And I did when I saw George Washington's suit, just because it's George Washington. That was his clothes. And by the way, because these times people are getting bigger, taller, bigger. George Washington back in the day was a monster.
Oh, really?
Well, I don't think he was like 6'4" or anything. I think he was like 6 foot, 6'1".
Yeah.
But back then, when people weren't as big, he was a large guy.
Yeah.
I didn't realize
I
I saw that suit. And then when you saw some of the other general suits, I'm going to blow it, so I don't want to say it, but there were some very well-known generals, and their suits were there, and you're like, hey, little tiny guy.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what have you been doing, you tiny guy? So, anyway, the spacesuit was awesome. And then right before I get off here, I'm going to say one thing. I'm going to leave people with this one. The older I get, I don't know, like I'm going to sound stupid to some people. I don't believe in flat Earth stuff. As a matter of fact, if you do, I think you're crazier than whatever.
Brother, where is this going?
I think you're crazier than whatever. But the older I get, I'm not sure we went to the moon.
Oh, brother.
I don't know.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode.
I don't think we did. I don't know. You're going to tell me that little tinfoil job landed on the moon and we haven't been back since? I don't know, man.
If there's a part to it that would stump me is we were able to go way, way back when, how many ever years ago, but we haven't been back since. That is odd.
Yeah, and then India went to the dark side of the moon the other day.
Yeah.
First people there. They had them to stake their claim. First one on the other side.
Yeah.
You weren't the first one. We're the first ones on this part of the moon.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just odd.
Big day for India.
Oh, massive.
Hey, shout out for India in the space program.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got there. What if they did get there?
What do you mean?
Because I still don't think we went.
If they did, I mean, that's kind of crazy.
Did they make it up? I think they were just trying to get clicks.
I think so, too.
Yeah. India, you didn't go. Disregard what I said. You're stupid, India. You didn't go to the moon.
They're just trying to get views on TikTok.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure you got your views, India.
Yeah,
Now,
hey, the Life and Times podcast went to the other side of the move that India didn't touch.
Yeah, Lifetime's podcast sponsored by India. The government got a hold of me there in India. Yeah, they did. And they're like, hey, could you give us a shout out?
Did they give you a t-shirt too?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We gave him a shout out on the moon landing. All right, well, let's get off here, I guess. And, hey, we should put P-Rails in the Hall of Fame. There's some talk about it. I mean, we've been saying this thing for 3 years, just like to say it, but there's some talk about it the other day, like news stories where people were pushing it, like pretty hard.
Yeah.
And that's like I said, I'll be disgusted if they wait till he dies to put him in.
That's my prediction. That's what's going to happen.
It'll be
not, for your sake.
Well, any voter that votes him in that day, good for you for doing it that day. But if any of those voters were the people that were still on the ballot or on the voting had, what do you say, the voting rights to put them in?
Yes.
Previous. I'm writing those people off.
Really?
Oh yeah, for life. All right, love everybody. Thanks for listening in. Listen, guys, we're back from the flood, so we're back.
Yep.
All right, love everybody. Have a good week.